We're on the air.
I'd like to call the meeting to order from Monday, October 15th, 2018. Please rise for the pledge. Alderman Terry Glover will lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings you give us. Help each one here and each one in the city of Dyersburg to be able to slow down and realize what those blessings are. We take too many things for granted. Thank you for those that make us safe in this city. The first responders and those others around them. We want to go ahead and thank each and every one, those with special needs that we realize are there, and the special challenges each and every one of us face every day. Be with us and guide us and help us. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, roll call. Please show all present here tonight. Next item on the agenda, approval of minutes. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from October 1st, 2018.
So moved.
Motion from Bob Kirk. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Scott Staggs. Any discussion?
Mayor, could I make a comment, please?
Yes, sir.
I was referred to in the minutes from the previous meeting. I asked that night about the eligibility of people running for city offices, and you gave me permission to go talk to City Attorney Christine Coronado, which I did, spend some time with her and discuss this particular case and who's responsible for the cost and why they were involved. And I had a very good discussion with her. And I questioned why the city was involved in it when the election commission, I understood, was the entity that determined where someone was eligible to run for public office or not. And she said she had a call from City Hall that asked her to get involved in it. And that's how the city attorney's office became involved in it. And, you know, in the past, we've had other aldermen who have chosen to run for alderman that worked for the city. I'm assuming there was never a complaint lodged or nobody ever questioned it. And then, as we discussed this further, that if we had taken some action prior to qualifying deadline, that I think there's a provision that we could change the ordinance and city employees with the vote of this board could be eligible to run for city offices. Another part of the discussion was the cost. I questioned the cost, why the election commission didn't pay for it. And she told me that the city, all the costs incurred with city elections are to be paid by the city. And I've also had a discussion with the election commission chairman, and he indicated to me that all costs were to be paid by the city for the cost of the election, and that they had no intention of paying. And I do understand that she indicated that the city, the county attorney was involved in some of these discussions as well. And I just want to pass that along to you. I've had a good discussion with her, and I understand where we're coming from. I don't think we're going to get a check from the election commission if you have some on the bill. Thank you.
That's great. Let me make sure that we're all on the same page. This last discussion 2 weeks ago, yes, they were called from City Hall, and I think I explained how that occurred. Chief Isbell brought me something from Maggie with the the Chiefs of Police Association, where a gubernatorial candidate put out some information that they were endorsed by that group. The chief brought me that information. He was concerned about it, and as I stated 2 weeks ago, that led to a phone call to MTAS, which led to discussion about eligibility of people running, which led to them telling me that city employees by state law were not allowed to run. You said something about by the qualifying deadline. I will tell you that the person in question was notified 2 weeks before the qualifying deadline passed. A letter was given to him, hand delivered by the chief, and so he was even called by me to make him aware of that situation. So I don't want any misconception that he was targeted or whatever you want to say, but he had a letter 2 weeks before the qualifying deadline, and I think that day was was August 16th, I believe, so, matter of circumstance that it happened, nobody complained, nobody filed a complaint, it just came because of a letter that, was put out by a gubernatorial candidate that was brought to the chief's attention, ultimately to my attention, ultimately to MTAS and their attorneys, and their advice was to contact the city attorney, and that's how that occurred. I think if you look at the date of that letter, to that individual, it's way before the qualified deadline.
Yeah, it caused a good bit of concern and talk in the community, and that's the reason I asked the question.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Yes, sir, thank you. Anything else? Have a motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Unfinished business, is there any unfinished business? No unfinished business. New business, under new business, Tennessee Comptroller Treasury letter constituting approval for the city of Dyersburg to enter into a loan agreement. That was attached in your packet. I'd ask Steve Anderson to come forward and tell you a little bit about that.
This letter is just a step in the process as far as the issuance of these bonds. It's just to make you aware that all the steps have been taken and that the Comptroller of the Treasury has approved the loan. It will be funded tomorrow. We'll receive our first draw tomorrow, and going forward, we'll be able to request money as we need it. So that should all be done tomorrow.
That means the bonds have been sold, or
Yes,
the
sir.
bank's been involved
Yes, sir.
and cleared it for us to get this loan.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, did we borrow an additional 500,000 in that, or what was our matching part for the
4.6.
grant? The
That was part of the 4.6
Part of-
million.
So what will we do with that portion of it now?
That'll be up to the board. We have access to $4.6 million, so however we choose.
We're not gonna get the grant, the parks grant, LPR.
I haven't heard.
Mary, have you heard anything on it?
Yes, we discussed that here. We were not approved, and I passed out a letter to everybody.
But nothing additional to pass that?
No.
So we'll need to get together.
Yeah, you'll have the option to either come up with other projects to spend that money on or just not. You're not obligated to borrow the entire amount, so just whatever the board, however you choose to handle that.
Do we need to, we got a quarterly report we have not gone over?
Not yet. It takes, the quarter ended in 2 weeks ago. It usually takes me the next month. So by the first meeting of November, I should have one for the first quarter.
Thank you.
So all those purchases that we've considered that we're gonna pay for out of this money can be executed now, I'm assuming that I put a fire truck to the number of other police cars. and that
The
sort of-
fire truck is actually the first draw that we're supposed to receive tomorrow, is to pay for the fire truck.
Okay, and then,
Going forward, we'll request the money as we spend it. We don't have to pay interest on it until we draw it, so
okay,
we'll just draw it as we go.
okay, thank you.
So that 500,000 that was in that, for that parks grant that we're not getting, it's in that 4.6.
That's right.
So this board or finance committee, whatever meeting, it can be used as we see fit.
I think it's actually only 250,000 because 250,000 was from the grant. So 250,000 was in it, right. It's actually 250,000 that was
Thank you.
going to be used from the bond proceeds.
Steve, you want to tell us a little bit? There's been some, I think, some misconception that we're getting a loan from the city of Clarksville. Can you kind of talk about that and clear that up a little bit? And tell us where we got the loan and what the interest rate was?
The loan is through the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund's local government bond program. The Clarksville Building Authority is the entity that is used. They issue bonds of, like, Mr. Kerr, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think about $300 million that they issue a large bond, and then bonds are sold off of that to banks, and then the proceeds of those bonds being sold are used to fund projects for cities across the state. It's used by many cities. I think this is the 4th or 5th time that we've used this program, but yeah, that's just, the city of Clarksville Building Authority is just the entity that's used in order to issue. We're not borrowing money from, the money's actually coming from.
When the bond fund was initiated, you had to have a local government authority to run it through, and at that time, many years ago, the Clarksville Authority was one that
interest rate is how much?
1.05%.
Okay,
It's a variable rate.
Variable, okay.
Yes, sir.
okay. Any other questions? Thank you, thanks, Steve. And we'll read this into the minutes. That was a condition of the letter that was submitted in the packet. Next item on the agenda, public hearing for a beer permit, Hideaway, 551 Horner Road, Dyersburg, Tennessee, 38024. Chief?
Thank you. A background investigation has been completed for an on-premise beer permit. This will be a consumption on-premise for the Hideaway Bar at 551 Horner Road here in Dyersburg. I have reviewed the background packet. The applicant is in compliance with all the rules and ordinance and laws, and I see no reason to deny the permit for an on-premise consumption beer permit at the Hideaway.
So moved.
Have a motion from Bob Kirk, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Kevin Cheney. This is a public hearing. Anybody in the audience wish to speak to this? Seeing none, this was properly advertised in the State Gazette on September 28th. A copy of all this information is in your packet. No public comment. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Next item on the agenda is a notice of public hearing to be held November 5th, 2018. This also is in your packet, an ordinance to amend the text of the Dyersburg Municipal Zoning Ordinance to adopt standards for indoor sport shooting ranges. The Planning Commission took this up on Thursday. They approved it. It will be sent to this board, and this is the notice of a public hearing to be held on November 5th, and entertain a motion to allow the public hearing to be held on November 5th.
So moved.
Motion from Kevin Cheney, is there a second? Second from Dennis Moody, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, attorney invoice. The attorney invoice is attached. The amount of the attorney invoice, $3,943.75. Entertain a motion to approve the attorney invoice. A motion from Mike Morgan, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Dennis Moody, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item, street committee meeting minutes from October 9, 2018. Chairman Mike Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. The Street and Sanitation Committee met Tuesday, October the 9th at 10 a.m. at the McIvers Grant Public Library. Members present, Mayor John Holden, Bill Eskew, Kevin Cheney, Committee Chairman Mike Morgan. Other aldermen present were Terry Glover, Bob Kirk, and Robert Taylor Jr. Staff and others present was Greg Williams, Purchasing, Brandon Hutchison, State Gazette, Scott Ball with Stormwater and Construction and Inspection, Charlie Whitnell, and Billy Osmond. The meeting opened with prayer. The committee convened to discuss street selection for paving. The committee reviewed a list of streets prepared by Alderman and with the assistance of Street Superintendent Mike McCullough, included an estimate cost for bush leveling and all streets to be cleaned, tagged, resurfaced with a compacted 2 inches of surface hot mix. A few streets will be milled and picked up and removed from the site. Side streets will go 10 feet into the streets. Estimated cost of work $1,353,274. Alderman Bill Eskew made a motion to approve the list and send it out for bids. Alderman Kevin Cheney seconded the motion. The motion passed and will be presented tonight. And I'll put that in form of a motion right now.
Okay, I have a motion from Mike Morgan, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill Eskew, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And that's what I understand, if I remember right, we could add some streets to that.
That's correct.
Under the, under the current year's budget, the mayor and alderman approved $4.6 million in capital outlay projects, including $2 million in paving. In order to fund the project, the city will utilize board approval TML bond fund agreement loan funds. Mayor John Holden noted the city recently received a letter from the comptroller office approving the loan agreement. That's what we did. Mr. Scott Ball and Mr. Williams informed the committee that they would assist in preparations for the bids as the selections have been made. Mr. Ball further noted the bid request should be included a price for base, surface mix, one for striping, and one for milling per ton. Several streets were considered as high priority, including Frank Maynard and Mall Boulevard. Mr. Ball noted that the city does have STP funds remaining and these funds would be appropriate for, finishing Mall Boulevard. On a motion from Alderman Bill Eskew and a second from Kevin Chaney, the committee approved using the remaining STP fund for the completion of Mall Boulevard. The motion passed and will be presented tonight at the board, and I so move.
Okay, a motion from Mike Morgan, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Kevin Chaney, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Additionally, Mr. Ball discussed the connector road that has been mentioned as part of the Transportation Master Plan and previously approved by the full board on April the 17th, 2017. The project has been submitted to TDOT for approval from Highway 78 to the industrial park. He stated the project had been moved up on TDOT's list of projects primarily due to the Dyersburg staff attending the TDOT meetings. Also, from prior board approval, the city engineer is pursuing grant applications for the project. Mr. Ball noted that from the conversation with TDOT, the first thing required toward grant funding is to complete an environmental impact study of the project. The study will provide water resources review, the protected endangered species review, noise, farmland impact, cultural resources certification, hazardous material certification, and floodplain management. The cost of the study is estimated at $50,000 or $15,000 per mile. Alderman Chaney asked if the city had a good opportunity to obtain the TDOT grant for the project, of which Mr. Ball acknowledged that the city does. From discussion, Alderman Chaney motioned to approve the environmental study with a second from Alderman Eskew. The motion passed and will be presented before the full board, and I present that tonight.
Okay, a motion from Mike Morgan for the study, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bob Kirk, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
In other business, the committee also reviewed the results of a drainage bid for Woodside Lane located in the Rolling Meadow subdivision. The drainage issue discussion has been a concern for some Rolling Meadows residents since the petition for the city action was presented to the committee on August 28, 2017. At that time, the committee agreed to commission an engineering study of the issue and determine options for assisting the residents concerned. On April 12, 2018, the committee met and reviewed the results of the engineering study and approved the project to go out for bid. Mr. Ball told the bid price came in at $178,900 to do the drainage improvements that was recommended in the engineering study. He noted that the work may comprise the following. The ditch beside Woodside Lane is a single pipe that runs for a certain amount of feet that opens into a double pipe. Therefore, that would be changed to make it a double pipe. It would extend all the way down the current length of the ditch location, put a new catch basin, and then where the water empties out and into where it runs south to 104, expand that concrete ditch out. Finally, remove the east wall from it and open that area up to carry the water on down. Mayor Holden noted it would be from the water sewer fund, street department fund, or from the fund obtained through the recent approved bond. Charlie Whitnell, owner of the farming property east and north of the area in discussion, was present to address his concerns of the project. He shared his recommendation for solutions. After further discussion, it was recommended to meet with the city engineer to discuss the engineering study further and attempt to address the questions and concerns for all those involved. No committee action was taken, but it was announced that the committee would reconvene to discuss the drainage issue Thursday, October the 18th at 9 a.m. With no further business, the committee adjourned at 10:50.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? So Thursday, October 18th, 9 a.m., we'll have another committee meeting. I'll let you know where it is. Maybe back at the library or the PDC. The auditors are still at City Hall upstairs, so I'll let you know where that'll be. Thank you, Mike. Next item on the agenda, bids. Greg Williams.
With approval of the bond issue, that allows us to go forward with some of the general fund purchases that were budgeted. Last meeting, I presented some trucks for the water fund. I used the same bid for these, so that's why you got the same results. It's for the fire department, stormwater, and cemetery to replace older trucks. the trucks they're replacing. I will survey the other departments and see if they have a need. If not, we will sell those. The bid that we used last time, was notification was given through the State Gazette and direct to 4 vendors. I had 1 response, and the 3 trucks there, the bid price that we used before, amounting to $81,261.44. I recommend awarding the bid to Tim Castellaw Automotive of Dyersburg.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation, entertain a motion to approve this.
Smoke.
Motion from Mike Morgan, seconds from Dennis Moody. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thanks, Greg. Next item on the general report from Alderman Bob Kirk.
Yes, Mayor. Couple of things, 2 or 3 things. Steve, have I missed getting the quarterly financials, or you don't have them ready yet?
That's what Kevin said, it'll be next.
Oh, that's in this envelope tonight?
Yeah, I have them next week.
Huh?
I have them next week.
Oh, okay.
Those are public works reports in the envelope.
Yeah,
The quarterly financial statements will be at the next meeting.
next week, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Congratulations are to be expressed to Chief Isbell too for the recognition he's gotten and the office he's holding on a nationwide basis. And we compliment you for your service and involved in an organization as great as that is and as widespread as it is. It's good publicity for the city of Dyersburg. Thank you. Mike, coming down Lake Road, going south, before you get to the stoplight at Parkview, at Parkview, coming south, there's a bunch of trees hanging over the road there that covers just about both southbound lanes. I don't know whether that's a responsibility of ours or the state, but it does block the view of the stoplight at Parkview and Lake Road. Okay? And one other, I've had several people say something to me over the past few months about the deplorable condition of the housing up and down Troy, from Magoy all the way up to Oak Street. And I don't know whether codes people need to be involved in that, or you are involved in that, but I hear quite a few comments about that particular section of town, and it's a lot of traffic on that street. So, are y'all involved in it, or are you looking at it or anything?
We have in the past, but I'll take a run back up there.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill?
Well, I've got a question to ask. Of course, you know, the streets are a hot button issue now, because now they know we have a little money. And one of the questions posed that I don't really know how to answer because I'm not authority on paving, is when we go in and, you know, repave some of these streets where we have these bad potholes, what are we doing to prep those potholes so they won't come back? Because people said they've noticed that where we have recently paved streets where there were potholes, the potholes are coming back again. And didn't know how they, did we discuss this in last day, Mike? Okay. And that was one of the questions, and I didn't know how to answer them, so I didn't know maybe if you had any kind of information you could give us on that.
Ford usually does that before they.
They just clean them and prep them, or?
Yeah.
And try to do something to,
What
where
they usually,
it'll attach?
what they usually do is come in the bad places and run a thin layer of asphalt.
Yeah.
And then
Inside
come
those?
back and level it up, come across with the mix.
Okay. That's all I got, Mike.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Glover.
To add to that, I've still got 1 or 2 that probably need to be addressed. They've been there for a while, going across the front of it. And I'll give you that note, Mike.
Okay.
You need to know where it is anyway. No other report.
Thank you. Kevin? Mike?
No, sir.
Dennis?
Yeah, of course, with all this rain and people are finally getting to mow some and have to again, and the leaves are starting to fall. I know the street department's doing a good job keeping our storm drains open, but we need to remind the residents and lawn services not to sweep and blow grass into the drainage ditches and on the curbs of the streets, because that just adds to the problem.
Good luck.
Yeah, isn't that true? Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Scott?
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say the next thing.
Robert. All right, Chief, again, congratulations. Thank you for what you do and your department does as well. With that, we're adjourned.